House in Baltimore. I'll be leaving you with folks like this to take good care of you. Dennis Kolatzis is here from Coons Florida Security Boulevard. He's moving the show from Thursday to Wednesday, but back to Thursday next week, all to try to get away and get a little bit of sunshine. Dennis, first off, welcome in. How are you? And I guess as it gets a little colder here, so go the cold winter months of no football. It's no longer football season. It's time for all of us to leave, right?
Yeah, it really is, and it really hasn't sunk in yet. I'm still in a state of shock after watching that surreal finish to the championship game the other day. I'm still in disbelief, Nestor.
Yeah, so is the whole state of Georgia.
But I, as a football fan, I love the NFL just like more than anybody else. But I just cannot believe what my lying eyes saw. I cannot believe the finish. It was an epic finish, one for the ages.
I haven't told this to anyone, but I'm going to share this with you, Dennis.
Oh, come on, I'm honored.
All right. Well, I'm disgraced, quite frankly, when you'll find out when I tell you. I'm not really disgraced. Look, I didn't have a dog in the hunt Sunday. I'm not going to lie. Like, I wanted the Patriots to lose. They wanted them to lose badly. I never believed they would lose. You probably saw my Facebook Live where I completely predicted the score ahead of time. I've never done that before, but I hit the nail on the head with it. But when the score was 28-3, when they went in, I left my seat in the upper deck to watch the remainder in the media viewing area, right? So I thought the game was over. I went downstairs. I don't have no regret for not being in the bowl. I wanted to be on the first bus out of there because I had a 5:25 a.m. flight Central Time, and I needed to get home, and I got a radio station. I got things to do. So I did watch the end of it on a television screen, but it still hasn't really sunk in that it was possible that happened. I don't know what the Falcons are going to rest their hat on for the next 6-7 months. Where all I could think about on the ride home out of the stadium as the fireworks were going on is, there for the act of God, could that have been us on those 4 plays in New Orleans? And I wonder what the fallout would have been had they run the football and what it would have been like to be here. I can imagine for the Seahawks and their whole offseason after they screwed up a game on one play. But, boy, the Falcons had a lot of things go wrong there late in the game, and I don't know what that's going to be like for Atlanta and for Falcons fans moving forward and whether Matt Ryan's ever going to have the confetti fall upon him.
Well, Nestor, I know how we felt when Cundiff went wide left and we just sat there in disbelief in that game. And Christos and I, we just sat there across from each other in our man cave for about 45 minutes, didn't say a word. We were numb. So I can't imagine what that would feel like, having such a numbing feeling, especially when you're up 25 points and having a historical loss in the first overtime Super Bowl in NFL history. It was really, really, really bad. So I can't even begin to imagine how the Falcons and the state of Georgia is feeling today.
Well, when the lights went out in New Orleans, that darkness came upon. Yeah. I was sitting at about the 35-yard line in New Orleans, and I saw my dear friend, Jason Pappas, and he was in my section, and we got together and spent 15 minutes together during the blackout, and it was just sort of like, well, is the parade going to be Tuesday or is it going to be Wednesday, right? I mean, literally, that's what we were talking about because the game was won. We didn't have a 28-3 lead with 2 minutes left to go in the third quarter. I mean, where the Falcons sat at that point from Luke always talks about the probability, 99% probability of winning the football game. I don't know how Atlanta picks itself back up from that. And, one of the things I read on Monday to a business side was they're selling PSLs down there. To the new stadium, right? I can't imagine the hangover that everybody in that organization has to be feeling this week.
Well, they can take solace in the fact that this was their first time to the big show in a long time. This is their head coach is heading to the third year. They're young. Matt Ryan is at his peak. Their defense is young, going to get more mature. They have another draft coming up. They have arguably the NFL's best wide receiver. So they have a lot of good to build on. And this team has figured it out. They figured out how to win. And I think there's enough good there that they'll shake it off, and they should be back stronger. I think the Falcons, their defense is going to be better. That was their Achilles heel, as you remarked several times prior to the Super Bowl. And if that defense gets shored up, there's no reason to believe why they can't be right back in the thick of things, not just for next season, but in the years to come. I think the window will stay open for quite a while.
Dennis Kolatzis joining us here from Coons Florida Security Boulevard. He hosts the SSV on WNST every Thursday. It'll be Wednesday this week, but Thursday next week, and you can always catch the replay on Sunday as well. Dennis, I know you saw that I was very Natalie attired on Friday. I had my blue jacket at. I was looking like $1 million, and I, shaved up real pretty because I was doing NFL Network for Top 10. And they give me a little shot sheet, and they asked me not to share it, but I'm just going to share the topic with you. It was Top 10 Tom Brady wins,
wow.
right? I mean, that was, and then I shot this on Friday, and they had the Tuck rule at number 2. And I said, that's got to be number 1 because that's sort of put him on the, when I think of famous Tom Brady plays or moments. And dude's got a handful of rings, right? But there is no defining, like, Joe Montana, the pass to Taylor, right? I mean, that's the pass to Clark. He had those moments, right? Joe Flacco had moments back shoulder to Anquan Bolden where he had a moment. And I know Brady's thrown a lot of famous passes and there have been famous plays. The Tom Brady number 1 moment wasn't on the sheet on Friday because it didn't happen until Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Like when you think of the defining things that make Tom Brady, there's been no one moment until now, right? That fourth quarter for him, there was nothing like coming back from 25. They never had to come back from 25 points down because they're usually kicking the other team's butt, right?
Well, we've used this term before, and I think it's appropriate in this case, Nestor. He bleeds you with paper cuts, right? 5 yards, 7 yards, 12 yards, 15 yards, 7 yards, 5 yards, 3 yards. The next thing you know, you've lost, and that's exactly what he did to the Falcons. Time of possession was unbelievable. Twice the amount of time the Patriots had the ball versus the Falcons. I mean, the guy is, and they did it with that Rob Gronkowski. Margot said, hey, what about the Patriots next year? You think they're done? I said, done. This team could be better next year, especially if they trade Jimmy Garoppolo and get a high number 1 draft pick. Man, they're going to reload.
I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to bring that, but,
there's a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo will bring a high third either from the 49ers or the Cleveland Browns. The guy is a hot commodity. They're going to fleece somebody out of a number 1 draft pick for this guy. This is why they're the best franchise in the NFL. Love them or hate them. You can throw rocks at them, but all they do is win, Nestor.
Where is the culpability for the Falcons and Shanahan and Quinn? I mean, there were so many things historically. If I'm on Atlanta radio right now, the things I'm talking about and the things I'm going to be subjected to talking about until they win. Hey, at least here, when Cundiff missed a field goal, we won next year, and Harbaugh will not be defined by having a timeout in his pocket that he didn't use to settle his kicker down to get that game where it needed to be to go to Indianapolis and win a Super Bowl. In the case of the Falcons, I mean, there are a dozen things that went wrong in the second half of that football game. Nothing to me quite like, even after you've screwed up and you've had the sack strip and, and they've gotten back into the game, you had the ball at the 22-yard line.
Before the strip sack.
You took a sack. You took a sack.
Before the strip sack, it was 2nd and 1. They ran the ball. They got stuffed. Instead of running the ball again, he dropped back in the shotgun, took the pass, took the snap, and got sacked. To me, that was the defining. It was that second down play where they should have ran the ball, and they chose on 3rd down to pass the ball. They panicked, they knee jerk. All they had to do, they could have taken a knee in that situation. Nestor, taking 25 seconds off the clock, kicked your field goal. Now you're up by 11. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
As simple as that, but they didn't do it, and that's the scrutiny right now in Atlanta, and it's deserved. And this one. The Atlanta coaching staff. It's the old Seattle coaching staff anyway. And for all the people that were complaining about the flags, look, Dan Quinn coached that Seattle defense to their championship. Dan Quinn teaches those guys to hold the wide receivers and dares the referees to throw a flag. Those refs had to throw those flags. They didn't even throw the flags on half the plays. They could have thrown a flag on every single play against that Atlanta defense. So they've got to get better players on Atlanta defense. But the culpability for this loss falls squarely on the head coach's shoulder. I don't want to hear about Kyle Shanahan. They should have ran the ball in that situation. Situational football is a place where Bill Belichick always excels, and he's head and shoulders above his peers.
Dennis Kolotzis joining us here. He's over Coons Florida Security Bulletin. Last thing for you, run an organization. I have run an organization in the past. The Patricia Goodell clown shirt coming off the plane. Yeah, what do you think of that? What do you make of that?
I don't care for that. I really don't. I mean, you know what? Art Modell said, when you lose, you say nothing. When you win, you say even less. Remember that?
Yeah.
I've always lived by that. You won the game. Let it go. There's no reason for Matt Patricia may have to go in front of one of these owners in the next few months or years to audition for a job. Right? That's not a good look. You got to still protect the shield.
That is interesting. How Steve Bisciotti would feel about that.
You
know what I mean?
You got to protect the shield. So to me, I like Matt Patricia. I wish he hadn't done that. I really do.
Here's Dennis Galatz. What's going on out of Coons Forward, man? I know you got big doings. Were we up on President something?
Yeah, President's Day coming around right on the 20th. A big sale in progress right now, Nestor. We have pre-President's Day savings right now going on at our store, and over 1,000 brand new trucks, cars, SUVs, 200 pre-loved. Most of them have heated seats, and we're ready to roll, man.
Well, didn't need heated seats on Tuesday, but by Thursday I know I will. So, such is February in Baltimore. You can find Dennis at Coons Ford Security Boulevard as well as on the SSV on WNST. Look, I'm going to be out of here for a little while. You're going to keep the lights on, though, right? No problem?
You be well, my friend. Don't you worry. You're in good hands.
All right, man. Well, wintertime means you need to find a week to find summertime. So,
yes, you do. Break it up a little bit.
Well, we're going to bust it up a little bit. We'll get back after in a couple weeks here. And we got Brigade football. We got the Wizards are doing incredible things, the Caps, the Terps, and before you know it, it'll be Combine here in 3 weeks.
So
look
out.
We're going to be on
Elevating.
it. Dennis, take care of yourself. We'll see you soon.
Be well, my friend.
He is the SSV on WNST, out on Twitter, as well as heard here every Thursday. But Wednesday this week from 3 until 5, he is Dennis Kolatzis from Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Of course, they sponsor our tech service. Luke's going to keep you up to date on that. Anything happened with the Orioles, the curse of the Andino earlier in the week, and, of course, the Ravens and the Terps. You'll get it first. You always do. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, and, of course, still space on our WNST trip to London. We're looking forward to that. I am excited about that. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.